incense, beaten small, speaks to the souls of the righteous killed and persecuted by Azazel while they're in their prayers to Yah. You see, because when we defect from Azazel and choose Yah, he don't just, let us go, happily. He comes up against us. He persecutes us. And therefore that's why 2 Timothy 4:12 says, yea, all that will live godly shall suffer persecution. Because he's coming. Now the same thing that's saying here in Leviticus 11 in another way is saying in 1 Enoch 9, in chapter 9. It says in Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said one to another, the earth made without inhabitant cries the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men, make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. We see them praying out. Yah first destroyed Azazel's sin nature with the flood. And today he's doing it by the Ruach HaKodesh. For it's the Ruach HaKodesh that allows us to be fathered from above, where we no longer live in the flesh, but we live in the spirit. We walk in the spirit. We don't live by sight, but by faith. And in the end, he's going to destroy it by fire, where it's going to be permanently destroyed. I have my next reader read 1 Enoch 9, 4 through 10, please.
And they said to Adonai of the ages.
Mic isn't on. It's on now.
And they said to Adonai of the ages, thou shalt make all things, and power over all things. Thou hast made all things, and power over all things. Thou seest what Azrael had done, who had taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secret which are preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. And Simyaza, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over the associates. And they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and have slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kind of sin. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and making their suit to the gates of heaven, and their lamentations have descended and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which are wrought on the earth.
Okay, so we see in verse 6 it says, thou seest what Azazel have done, who have taught all unrighteousness on the earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven when men were striving to learn. He had no right to do that. And it goes on in verse 10, saying, now behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and make their suit to the gates of heaven. They're crying out because you have many that were standing for Yah, many that still stand for Yah, that these servants of sin, these servants of Azazel, you know, they're coming up against them and they're killing them. They're killing them because they don't do what they do, because they're lawless. You know, anything goes. They're like the Dab and the Behu. You know, they're free. And they use that liberty for occasion of sin. Revelation 6:9. Oh, did I read that last? Yahushua revealed a future event that bears a remarkable resemblance to these events, which is found in Revelation 6:9 through 11. It says, and when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of Elohim and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Adonai, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. There's nothing new under the sun. It happened before. It's happening again. Next reader, Leviticus 16:13 and 14.
And he shall put the incense upon or against the fire before Yahuwah, that the cloud of the incense may cover the mercy seat that is upon the testimony, that he die not. And he shall take the blood of the bullock and sprinkle it with his finger upon the mercy seat eastward. And before the mercy seat shall he sprinkle of the blood with his finger 7 times.
Okay. Here it is. It says he should put the incense upon or against the fire. Here it is. Let's back up for a minute. It's a continuation from verse 12, where he took the censer, where we spoke of representing Azazel's agency. You know, even as our flesh being full of coals or fleshly desires, lust of the flesh, and the sweet incense speaking to the souls of the righteous when killed and persecuted by Azazel, praying of those praying to Yah. And here it is in verse 13, to put incense, put these prayers upon the fire before Yahuwah. You know, here it is, these righteous ones, their prayers is put on the fire or Azazel before Yahuwah, that the cloud of incense may cover the mercy seat that is upon the testimony or witness that he died not. Here it is, what Yah is doing is making a memorial of what has transpired. You know, when the priest does this, he sees Azazel and the lust of the flesh that he caused man to have, destroying his righteous people. And when you put the incense, their prayers on there, it goes up as a cloud of smoke. You know, and that cloud of smoke reminds him of those of us that's being persecuted and killed for his name's sake, for Messiah's name's sake, and God's name's sake. And it says, and he shall take the blood of the bullock and sprinkle it with his finger upon the mercy seat eastward, and before the mercy seat shall he sprinkle the blood with his finger 7 times. The blood showing evidence that, you know, that they're in fact getting killed. You know, and it's a call for mercy. Mercy, Yah. Mercy. Bring justice. Judge this situation. It's not right. And as we read about in Revelation, he tells us, you know, yet for a little while, till the number of you be fulfilled. He hasn't forgotten about us. As we sing that song, Yah has not forgotten. He has not forgotten about us. Yeah. You know, this is happening every year. You know, he sees this. He has a constant reminder. So he never forgets about us. Revelations 8:3 and 4. And another angel came and stood at the altar having a golden censer. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? And there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before Elohim out of the angel's hand. Same thing. Nothing new under the sun. Next, read Leviticus 16:15 through 19.
Then shall he kill the goat of the sin offering that is for the people, and bring his blood within the veil, and do with that blood as he did with the blood of the bullock, and sprinkle it upon the mercy seat and before the mercy seat. And he shall make an atonement for the holy place because of the uncleanness of the children of Yisrael, and because of their transgressions and all their sins. So shall he do for the tabernacle of the congregation that remains among them in the midst of their uncleanness. And there shall be no man in the tabernacle of the congregation when he goes in to make an atonement in the holy place, until he come out and have made an atonement for himself and for his household and for all the congregation of Yisrael. And he shall go out unto the altar that is before Yahuwah and make an atonement for it, and shall take of the blood of the bullock and of the blood of the goat and put it upon the horns of the altar round about. He shall sprinkle of the blood upon it with his finger 7 times, and cleanse it, and hallow it from the uncleanness of the children of Israel.
Okay, so here it is. We see the same thing is done with the goat. You know, and the high priest, he of course done this with the bullock for himself and for his household, and with the goat as well. It doesn't really speak to the goat, to him doing it with the goat for himself and for his household, but he does. We find that in Numbers 29:11. So, but here he's doing it for the goat that is for the people. You know, and this is just a picture. You know, remember that goat came out of the congregation of Israel. Those goats came out of the congregation of Israel. We all have a goat. You know, this is why we see at the end of the story, at the end of harvest time, I should say, Yahushua separating the sheep from the goats.
Yes.
Now, with that in mind, there shouldn't be any goats left if everyone done what they were supposed to do, because that carnal nature should have been destroyed. And when that carnal nature is put on the altar and destroyed, one is fathered from above, i.e. born again, and he becomes not a goat nature being, but a sheep nature being. And that's why the ram is presented as a burnt offering. See, the burnt offering is different from the sin offering. See, the sin offering is the atone for the sins. But the burnt offering is something that's totally consumed by Yah. Yes. The sin offering was burnt outside the camp, but the burnt offering was burnt inside the camp with the fire of Elohim. You understand? It's a picture of giving yourself wholly 100% to Yah and allowing him to totally consume every aspect of your life. Whereas the goat is something that never had place in the temple of Elohim to begin with. Hence, it's burnt outside the camp. When we go before Yahushua, we want to go before as a sheep, that he will separate on his right, because the goats he'll separate on his left. And they're going to go right where their father goes. I think I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm going to just keep it moving. Verse 17 says, "And there shall be no man in the tabernacle of the congregation when he goeth in to make an atonement in the holy place, until he come out and have made an atonement for himself, for his household, and for all the congregation of Israel." This is where we are right now. This is where we are right now. You know, when he's done, he's coming back. You know, just as we see in Revelation where it speaks of those that's under the altar, you know, yelling out.
Yes.
And he says, you know, wait yet another little while. Because he don't want any of us to be lost. He wants us all to have an opportunity. So we all have to make use of this opportunity that he's provided for us, that we might slay this goat, this carnal nature of ours, and live unto Elohim as a sheeple. Leviticus 16:20, and when he had made an end of reconciling the holy place and the tabernacle of the congregation and the altar, he shall bring the live goat. This speaks to the time when Azazel will be judged. You know, there's going to be a time that he's going to be released for a while. You know, and this possibly speaks to that time. Verse 21 says, and Aaron shall lay both his hands upon the head of the live goat and confess over him all the iniquities of the children of Israel and all their transgressions and all their sins, putting them upon the head of the goat, and shall send him away by the hand of a fit man into the wilderness. See, even though Azazel is imprisoned, he had a whole slew of children. Actually, the book of Enoch speaks of the unclean spirits, the devils, if you would, as being the children of those fallen angels, and that they're the ones out here doing his bidding, acting in his agency. You know, and every time that we put our goat, we sacrifice our goat on the altar and destroy them, that is our carnal nature, you know, we get to send one of those devils home to see their father. Leviticus 16:21, the latter end, it says, and send him away by the hand of a fit man into the wilderness. This is where we want to send him, right where his dad is, into the wilderness, and Dudael, where he's imprisoned at. Next reader, 1 Enoch 10:4-7.
Verse 4. And again, Yahweh said to Raphael, blind Isaiah hand and foot, bend Isaiah hand and foot, and cast him unto the darkness, and make him an opening in the desert, which is in Dudael, and cast him therein. Verse 5. And place him rough in the jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face, that he may not see the light. Verse 6. And on the day of the judgment he shall be cast into the fire. Verse 7. And heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth.
Okay, so here it is. We see that concerning that fit man. You know, here Yah used the archangel Raphael, and he had him bind Azazel hand and foot and cast him into the darkness, and made an opening in the desert. You know, so we see in verse 6 that it says, on the day of great judgment shall he be cast into the fire. So he's still alive. He's still alive. He's bound, but he's still alive. Yes. Leviticus 16:22 says, the goat shall bear upon him all their iniquities unto a land not inhabited, and he shall let go the goat into the wilderness. Where is that place at? We don't know. It's not inhabited. You know, we know it's Dudael. Where that is, we don't know. You know, but look at 1 Enoch 10:8. It says, the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. So now you see why they put their hands on the head of Azazel, ascribing to him, and they speak all the sins over him, ascribing to him. You know, Yah sees this, and he has mercy. You know, he says, oh, my children, yeah, they sinned, they did this, that, and the other, but it was because of him.
Yes.
It was because of him. It was because of that carnal nature that came from him. And when they realized that, they sacrificed the part of him that was in them, that carnal nature. Therefore, I will have